Hi there. Welcome to The Preventable, the podcast giving you a seat at the table with conversations about the intersection of alcohol, drugs, and mental health in everyday lives. Take a seat and join us.
Welcome to The Preventable. As you probably get tired of hearing me say, none of this would be possible without the support of Hubbard Radio, who allow us to come in here, record the episodes, are so cordial to us, and we just really appreciate the space and the commitment to be able to do this in our fourth season. So we're just very appreciative of them, as always. With me today is an esteemed guest. And we've been talking about having you coming on for a while, and we've made it happen. So with me today is founder and CEO of the Sophia Project, Miss Dawn Price. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Are you always looking this fabulous, first of all? We got to paint a picture for the people who are just listening. But your eyeglasses are popping. You got killer earrings. Are you always this like on? Here's me.
A little. Like this morning, I didn't like my outfit, and I told myself to go put something else on.
Is your closet just like super colorful? And
you know what? It is colorful. I really don't like drab clothing, but I'm also in the business of selling self-esteem. Like, you can't empower people if you don't look empowered. Like, that's the first part of the day is to dress the part. So.
Wow. I remember that's so true, actually. A couple of years ago when TED Talks were really in their prime, we were listening and watching some at a staff meeting, one all about power posing and how you can start a meeting off, or before you go into a meeting, do certain poses and certain affirmations to really build that confidence. But you do it through your wardrobe.
Yeah, just before I even speak, people know I feel good about myself.
Right. So
yes.
Talk to me about the Sophia Project.
Well, we have been in existence for the last. I'm putting my phone up. I was
yes,
worried about
please.
my babies.
Yeah. Well,
okay. My phone up.
Yes, and I'm doing the same here. Yeah.
We've been in existence for the last 13 years.
Okay.
We started off with 2 contracts with Brittany Woods Middle School and Confluence Old North, and we worked with about 47 8th grade girls. And those 8th grade girls fit a certain criteria.
Okay.
They had to have a history of suspensions, a 2.5 or below, or just students that had been identified as needing some additional support. And we made a pledge to those 8th graders that we would follow them from the time that they got into high school till they graduated.
Wow. And so is it one-on-one mentoring support? Is it small groups?
It's a little bit of it. My theory of change is a 3-in-1. And before COVID, I was batting at least 3.
Okay. All right. So what's a 3-in-1?
So the in-school sessions was the way that we started off. We would go into an advisory group.
Okay.
And we'd work with that advisory group cohort, and that's how we kind of have the schools hold us accountable and hold them accountable for keeping those kids together. And it came upon me. I had a group of 8th grade girls who were being pulled out of school, pulled out of class, talking to the principal because they were not getting ready to graduate, that our in-school session couldn't be the only part of the intervention. It wasn't enough. My fabulous self showing up was not enough. I needed other people to be pouring into those kids and checking in with them. And so I then started Friday Night Kiss, which is Keep It Safe and Sacred. It happens every Friday, the first Friday in September until the last Friday in April.
Every Friday?
Every Friday night, I have a standing date, and it's with the Sophia Project. When the kids are acting bad, I always say, Miss Dawn would like to be on a date, but I'm here with you.
But I'm here with y'all. I am not on a date. Y'all are my date, so you better get it together.
I've missed all the birthday cocktail parties and all of the things because I'm with my children on Friday nights. And so that group mentoring piece is a part of the intervention. I ask professional women to help me come on Friday night, serve dinner, do programming.
Is this at school, or is this at a out of school location?
It's at the YMCA on Page, and we've been working with the YMCA on Page probably for about
a great location.
12 years. We've been together.
So you do dinner, life skill kind of stuff, conversation?
Yeah, we do dinner and conversation and activities. We had a wonderful partnership with 21C. We closed it out this year where we had the girls get dressed up and do an etiquette class and have a fine dining experience.
I took that when I was in 7th grade. something called Pretty as a Picture, and I learned to like walk straight and like eat properly
That's
and
cute.
use the right silverware. I actually wanted to do it. My sister is 5 years younger than me, and so my parents were like, "You want to do that, right?" to my sister, and she was like, "Hell no, I don't want to do that." So the big joke in my family is that like I chose to do that, and my sister was
she
like,
had to.
"Nah, no." She
They didn't
would-
do it?
No,
Okay.
she was like, "No thanks, no thanks." So is it kind of like cotillion? No.
Not quite.
No,
It
okay.
has a little bit more grit than being
Okay.
in a cotillion.
Okay.
Just a little bit. But this is the thing. These are the kids, not all, but some, whose parents are probably not looking for cotillions. But we're giving them access to that same level
Got it.
of,
Okay.
let's talk about what you want to do when you grow up. Let's expose you to the things. Let's kind of like stimulate your dreams. Because that's what I did, cotillions. I did all of the things. And
Yeah.
somebody bought my dress. And
Yeah, my
all
niece
the-
just did cotillion. I mean, she was like 3 heads taller than all the boys. It was so funny. But like that is an opportunity. I mean, that's offered through her school.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so what you're doing is providing opportunities that maybe wouldn't be afforded elsewhere.
Right. And so, and after that, so we do the in school, keep it safe and sacred. We pair them with one-on-one mentors when I have enough.
Oh.
After COVID, everybody prioritized their lives and themselves. So I've been trying to get people to come out of hibernation to come back and do service work. And that's my 3-on-1.
How do you apply to become a mentor?
You can go on my website and where it says what we do, you can sign up to mentor. But we're also going to do a mentor marathon at 21C. That's my lovely loom partner, I guess, at 21C. And we're going to do Service is the New Sexy. And we're partnering with Gentlemen of Vision,
Yeah.
21C. So it'll be a happy hour and people can come out and have a cocktail. and we
Service
can
is
talk
the
about.
new sexy.
And I've been
I
doing
love
Service
it.
is the New Sexy for years.
Can I, like, you should trademark that, but can I borrow that?
Sure.
That is great.
Yeah.
So it's like a happy hour thing, and it's coming up
July the 10th.
July the 10th, and so, which is just in a couple of days. And so there would be, do you have to sign up and register?
You can go on my website
Okay.
and register. It's a job form that allows you to pre-register.
And you would have then, you would learn not only about the Sophia project, but about,
Gentlemen of Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a male organization that does mentoring as well. And so we're asking guys and girls to come out and just commit some of their time for this academic year to help us.
how long do you like mentors? So I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters for a long time. I was matched with the same child for almost 10 years. And I know they said like you need to meet like certain many times. Like, do you all have those sorts of
Criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ask people to serve at least twice a month.
Oh,
So
okay.
then that way they can kind of build out their lovely calendar. So
For
if
sure.
it's the first and third Friday of every month or the second and fourth Friday, then the mentees know that Miss T only comes on the second Friday.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to back up just a little bit and go kind of back to the beginning. So, Sophia Project, is that because of Sophia means wisdom, or how did you come up with the name?
I just love that you did your homework.
No, I'm a Latin scholar, okay?
Oh, wow.
Right, I'm a nerd.
Okay.
We were talking ahead of time. I told you that I'm usually very, So yeah, I took Latin for a long time. But yeah, Sophia means wise and wisdom, and so is that where the name came from? Tell me the origin story of Sophia Project.
Well, I don't tell people this a lot because church folks really get in their feelings, and then non-church folks really get in their feelings.
Got it. Okay, I will have a neutral face as you're telling me this.
So I don't really tell this story. Plus, one of my schools one year sent me an MOU that was like, when they realized I was Reverend Dawn Price and the Sophia Project meant wisdom.
Oh, then
Like,
they got all kind
People
of...
get weird.
Yeah.
So I
They
oftentimes...
think you're like proselytizing or whatever.
And oftentimes I just kind of have to play low key
Got
in
it.
order to...
Well, we don't have to. Do we need to cut this
No.
question out, Dawn?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't. I'm happy to be honest because if kids ask me, I'm pretty honest with them.
And that's why kids like you, because you're genuine. Like, kids have a very
Good
very
radar.
good BS meter. Yes.
So I'm a minister, and when I was in seminary, I was in church history one day, and I learned what Sophia meant. They were doing a lecture on the Trinity.
Okay.
And so it was a guy who speaks British English doing this lecture. And I don't know, for some reason, I can't remember his name, but he was paired with a lady from Georgia. Her name is Roberta Bondi, and they would do like a little dog and pony show before church history.
Okay.
And so she would make us sing Give Me That Old Time Religion. And then this British guy he would lecture.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was a good pairing because it was very entertaining, and he was very serious. And she was really laid back. She was serious too when she graded your papers. She was very serious. But her lecture style was really relaxed, but they both were very much scholars in their own right. And so he was doing a lecture about how we oftentimes refer to God as our Father. It's non-negotiable that Jesus was a man, but we never talk about the feminine energy in the Trinity. So now I fastened my seatbelt. I knew
I loved you. Okay. All right. I'm into this.
So then I fastened my seatbelt and leaned in a little bit, and he was like, we never discuss it. But he was like, Sophia means wisdom, and the Holy Spirit is wisdom. And he was like, it's the feminine energy, and that too is non-negotiable, but we just never discuss it. Okay?
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God. I just walked around like I think I fell in love. I found something new. How many times can we find Sophia in the Bible, in the biblical text?
Right.
Like I did a deep dive, but then I just kept saying to myself that if I had a nonprofit for growth, which is what I wanted to do in ministry, I was like, I would name it the Sophia Project. Even when you look at a real staple in the Black community, like that movie, The Color Purple, Miss Sophia, the character is a teenage mom. She's very strong. She's really powerful. She's angry sometimes, and she really doesn't know how to direct that energy. I don't know why they named that character Sophia, but it becomes a huge part of my work. And the color purple, also the color, literally Sophia Project's colors are purple and pink, but the color purple becomes a part of it. So I tell the kids all the time,
like royalty and wisdom and all
of
that too.
It's even the womanist the color for womanist stuff. So I just was like, all this means very rich things. You all are a part of a movement that you really don't know what the movement is. You're just part of it, and so sometimes I break it down to them if they want to know, when they ask me, well, why Sophia? Because people assume my name is Sophia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm Dawn.
Right.
But anywho, I just thought to myself, the character is the kind of girl that I want to go after. When I describe a girl who has been in suspensions or has poor attendance, like she's had some displacement, that character did too. She's really strong. She's unapologetically not gonna take anything off anybody. That's Sophia in the movie, and all she needs is a little wisdom to see that these values that she's carrying are leadership values. She's just not quite using them for her benefit yet, and she needs to know how to redirect her energy and her power,
how to harness those
for her own benefit.
Right.
So even when I went into the schools, like the first cohort, I wrote a chant that all girls have to say, and it's like, we are the girls who believe in ourselves, who never forget our potential. We are the girls who know our worth, value our bodies, and demand our voices be heard. We are the girls who set goals, believe in our dreams, and never forget the power of self-worth. We are the girls of the Sophia Project. Like every girl who's ever went in my program, I'm brainwashing my Urban Girl Institute kids now, and it's brainwashing, like, because I want you to forever feel this in your... It's
a stamp on your soul, really.
Yes, because sometimes there are moments when you do find yourself in situations where you forget who you are and your worth, but it's always a heartwarming. Like one of my kids graduated 2 years ago, and we had her do like a video for the potential mentors.
Oh,
and
like a testimonial or something?
She was like, let's end this session with the chant. And I was like, praise the Lord, you were 22 and you still know it. I really appreciate that. But,
wow.
Yes. And if you're saying it from 8th grade until you graduate from high school,
and it becomes ingrained, and it becomes part of the fabric of who you are.
Yes.
That you are worthy, that you are wise, that you do deserve maybe more
your dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
And even your power. You deserve your power. Like, you deserve that, because people will try to make you feel like you don't, because you don't know what to do with it. But you deserve your power. You just need to figure out what to do with it.
So how many young women, girls, do you support at any given time?
Right now, I've got 37 for the summer.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. 37
new personalities. And it's funny as the founder, because I have so much other stuff like grants to write and meetings to take place, but I'm at the summer camp trying to get to know people's names, because I don't know if the other people I've hired are going to be on the journey with them, but I'm definitely going to be on the journey with them to see them on the other side?
You know, I literally just came from a conversation with some other executive directors, CEOs, and one of the topics that we talked about quite a lot was this idea of founder syndrome, making yourself indispensable, but at the same time dispensable, so that the knowledge and the work continues even as you transition. And obviously, this is something that I've been thinking a lot about now that I'm, transitioning. And I love the fact that I'm replaceable, and also because that's how the work continues. But also, I feel so deeply about our programs, and that not a founderess, so I can't speak to that. But I have had a really hard time getting out of the weeds. And by weeds, I mean
the day-to-day.
Yeah, I mean, I was still doing presentations up to a month ago. I'm staffing our leadership camp, not because I don't think other people can do it as well as me, but because I love it so damn much. And I know that that's something that you struggle with, right? Because you have less permanent staff, so you are doing it all. But I know that it's also something you think about. How can you take a bird's eye view to do the work that the CEO is supposed to do, but also you love the work.
I love the work.
And you want to work with the young women.
Well, and this is the thing that keeps kids connected, is that you genuinely care.
Yes.
And so I am hiring people because this is their job. But really, this is my work.
This is your life's purpose.
Yeah.
Really.
And so, like, some kind of place when I'm making the roux and I'm hiring people, I want to hire people who care about kids. But I also, like, if I come in the room now, I'm looking at people, I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'll pull every time I come in the room, and I might not have been there all day. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I'm moving around like I'm like, with this body language, you're shaking your leg, you're doing something crazy, like, and nobody asked you today, like, I need to talk about it. Because I want to make some resolve. And so that's part of caring about the work, that you can't teach your other people. It's like innate within them to make sure that everybody's okay. That's how they feel connected. That's how they build this withstanding rapport with you, is that they know that they're in a safe place where somebody really does genuinely care about their feelings.
But then when I'm sitting here talking about it and saying it out loud, and I would bet you feel this way too, like sometimes I'm like, Nichole, your ego is like getting in the way here, right? Because when I talk about the fact that I need to see that passion, or it bothers me that maybe what I perceive as the level of commitment might not be what it used to be amongst certain staff or whatever. In my brain, I'm like, okay, like, you're not perfect. Like, you're not doing it, you're not
indispensable.
Correct.
But you are.
And also,
but you are.
It's like you want the passion to transmit and to be there. And how do you teach that to staff? I think that's really hard. Now, I think one thing that you're doing, and one thing we have done, is we have hired staff who have gone through our programs. And my question to you, do you have?
I haven't gotten there yet. But I'm hoping,
because that's how you get it, right?
Yeah.
They've seen it, and it's changed them.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm hopeful that I can get there. But I do think, in all aspects of the work that we do, we're just needing people to be like, care about kids, and then also be translators of information. And so just because you know the information doesn't make you a good translator. I say that I say that about the church. I say that about working with kids. Anything where you're making like direct contact with people, if you study it, if you know it, you've got to now translate the information.
Yeah, it's one thing to know it. It's another thing to communicate it to other people.
It is, and even get them to transform. That's the next step. But you got to be a translator in order to get some transformation to happen. And so, I mean, just something simple today, like one of my program staff created a spelling bee last year, and the kids actually like it. Cool. I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm like, okay, I'm always worried about, is it cool? Yeah. But they like it. The girls like to compete against each other.
Cool.
But we learned that post-COVID, like their vocabulary was just really weak. Like their ability to spell was just really weak. And so I asked some of the girls today, like, you know, are you all reading? And everybody's like, somebody asked me something about an audiobook, and I don't have a problem with audiobooks, but I was saying to them, like, literally when I feel like I can't spell certain things, I know that I haven't been reading like the way that I need to. And so then that's when the girl said, well, can we do audio? I was like, you have to put your eyes on the words in order to remember how to spell them. Right. And so just like, and I think sometimes that we make learning feel like it's a destination point, but as adults, we know that over time, everything that we avoided comes back as something that we should have been paying attention to. And then you take a job or you take an opportunity, you're always in a constant state of learning something.
That's right.
It's not a destination, and you really don't want to feel inferior. That's why I was trying to translate to them today. Like, you don't want to posture yourself like you feel inferior about something. You always have to be trying to make yourself better.
Right.
Like, I don't, it doesn't stop for me. Like, there are things I'm like, I'm trying to be Canva. Right. How did Canva come into my life? Exactly. I feel like in the last 3 years, Google Suite, Canva just like took over. But you got to keep learning. Like, things evolve, things change, systems change. So the learning you're doing right now is something that you got to be willing to be open to. Like, you can't close yourself off. That's what I was trying to translate in my session last period.
And then ultimately the hope is that then that will lead to transformation.
Yeah.
Amongst these.
But they open themselves up that they don't feel so inferior about what their dreams may be.
So you said you've always wanted to, you said part of your ministry, you've always wanted to start a nonprofit for young girls. Where does that come from?
I think when I was my best friend does some work with the Sophia Project, and her storyline is like, you know, we were doing, youth ministry together, and she said I always wanted to do work with girls. That may be true. I know I had nonprofit on my mind. And I've got documentation of me volunteering all the way up from 6th grade. And my parents definitely were like, you know, do-gooders. Mm-hmm. Now they wish that they were talking about money more often than do-gooder work. Now that I'm like in my 40s, they're always like, we talk about anything else but giving back. But the truth of the matter is, back then when I was younger, they definitely were like giving to Larry Rice before the big building. Oh. Like, they did things in my life that were very impactful. My dad was a public servant for more than 30 years. Oh, wow. He's always got up every morning and served the young men on Saturdays, like doing mentoring himself. So it's just been a real part of my family fabric to give back. And I knew that I think I wanted to do that as a main deal. Wow. When I was in seminary, I got an opportunity this is when the light bulb came on. So we were having like this missionship drift moment. I was working for the Regional Council Churches of Atlanta, and we got a grant for the SAMHSA Foundation. And that really was just to keep our doors open and keep people from not having to be laid off. So she was like, I found some money where you could go teach kids in churches like HIV prevention work, and you're a youth pastor. Go create something. And so I did. I created this curriculum called Temple Testimonies, and it really was talking to girls in a more positive light about body positivity. You know, like, you know how people always have like all these little colloquialisms about not having sex before marriage as an adolescent, like, you know, keep your skirt down, and
legs together.
You keep keep a nickel between your knees. Like, they're all, or even my favorite is how they like always are body be your testimony. You know, like,
well, I've never heard that, but I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes, it's like they have all these things.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is, and I was like, but let's talk about body positivity. You know, that you can be beautiful and funny and even be sexy without having sex. And so I was taking my little, you know, thoughts together, my little curriculum I made to churches, and I went to a Sunday school convention. So my friend is like, look, I got a group of teen girls. I want you to go in the room. And he probably had 50 plus girls enrolled in that Sunday Sunday school convention. So I go to the Sunday school convention. I go to Michael's. This is something I do all the time still to this day.
Okay.
I go get these boxes, these little wooden boxes.
Okay.
It's affirmation boxes. And I used to carry around, even in the schools before people started telling you couldn't light candles in public places. I have these big tall candle holders. I was taking my little candelabras to the church. I put the girls in a circle. I lit some candles. I put the affirmation boxes around the circle. Somebody's going to steal this, but it's fine. I put all the affirmation boxes in a circle, and I told the girls that I wanted them to introduce themselves. That's a soft skill that I do with every girl that's a part of my program.
So many people don't know how to do that.
So I said, I want you to tell me your name. I want you to tell me something unique about you and something commonly misunderstood. And so back then, the girls were saying things like, it was funny to say I'm hard-headed, or that some people perceive my attitude. Like, girls always have really harsh things to say about themselves. And something commonly misunderstood, attitude problem. You know, they all had like I'll let every.
Well, and you're saying girls, but like just to put a finer point on it, I mean, really, we're talking about girls of color, right? Who it's sort of simultaneously like a badge of honor to have a hard head and have an attitude, but at the same time, they can be really pigeonholed, and it can be like a coping mechanism.
I think it is a coping mechanism, and sometimes there's some strength in all the derogatoriness that they find that I'm not really sure where the where that begins. Yeah. So I have them all go around the circle. I always say everybody's voice is valid in every circle that we create. So even when we're doing Friday Night Kiss now, or we're doing in-school sessions, everybody has to talk. I know we had a neuroscientist in our group as a mentor, and I would be like, check in, tell us how your day was. And she was like, it was fine. My experiments went well. I was like, you talking to us like we don't know anything about your world. We may not, but just tell us, did you work on the circadian rhythm today? And, the mices weren't working out for you. Like, be honest with us. I know we don't know what you're saying, but it's still your voice. Right. So enter it into the room. And I just tried to make everybody's voice feel valid. And there's a lot of patience when you got a lot of people and everybody's got to talk. But which is another skill that you're then teaching and reinforcing. Them. Well, one of my kids said, Miss Dawn, all the years I've been in here, you've always made me get used to holding space, taking up space where I deserve to take up space. Wow. Like, I learned it, and I was like, I never knew that's what we were doing. But she was like, you taught me to take up space and be comfortable with the silence and to name my truth. Whoa. And I was like, I love all of this. Love. So we have a teen leadership camp that we've been doing. This is our 42nd year. It's called Teen Institute. And on the very last day, and if people want to steal this, go ahead, whatever. On the very last day, it's a 3-night and 4-day experience. And we do small groups the session. And on the very last session, we ask everyone to give a compliment to the other people in the room. And they can be verbal, but I feel like there's more strength in seeing the words written on paper that like you have said about me and that I've said about you. But then we also, once everyone has given written compliments, this is how I do it in my small group, then each person is asked to read them out loud. And when I tell you that this, for many of these young people, it's like the first time they've ever seen something like super positive written on paper about them. Oh, wow. And they're wildly uncomfortable reading this. They don't know how to accept a compliment. I know adults still struggle with that too. Somebody will say your outfit's nice, and somebody will say, oh, well, I got it for $3, or this whole thing, or whatever. Exactly. But it's like, and we ask them to give compliments not about their personal appearance or about what they have, but like about who they are, and the transformation you see from just that one small activity where they are saying these things that other people have said and they're articulating them. It's like a wildly transformative experience. And many of the kids, teenagers, don't know how to have intimacy that's not sexual, that's not familial, but that's intimacy with another group of people. That's emotional. It is, right? And it's not making them vulnerable like on purpose, but obviously vulnerabilities come out
Because if you're saying like, I'm kind, or I saw you and I went to you and that meant a lot to you, like that's just like reinforcing it. And it really is transformative. And that's, I think, one of those soft skills or the SEL or whatever word you want to put on it, to be able to receive an affirmation, do that positive self-talk, recognize that you have really amazing qualities and that those can be, to use your words before, like harnessed for good.
And that's funny that you said that, because I left the Michael's wooden boxes are for the affirmations. Everybody in the room has to give each person an affirmation, and then you can go back when you're having a hard, bad day.
There are people who have been to our camp 15 years ago who will say, I still have that piece of paper with all of those affirmations, and I still look at it, and it gets me through a tough day. And I'm sure people do the same with your Michael's boxes. I mean, that has to feel pretty incredible.
I think so. I think it's just important that people get comfortable with being vulnerable. They're so uncomfortable with that. And emotionally, like it's a part of life. And if it hurts a little bit, it's all part of life. Like I told the kids, because we've been in session for probably like 6 days or something like that. So they've all made up fake conflicts. And I call them fake conflicts because I'm like, you really don't know these people to develop an opinion yet. But I was like, the truth of the matter, though, is that conflict is a part of relationships, but vulnerability is too. And so if you're not experiencing like these waving emotions while you're trying to build community with people, then you're not in a real relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the pearling
ceremony.
What is that?
Well, okay, so first of all, let's just say this. It is a humongous fascination of mine, pearls. Like when I was a little girl.
Okay, all right.
When I was a little girl, I would get a new strand of pearls for like Easter, and then I would wear them with like my jeans or something. My mother would be like, those are reserved for Sundays. And I'm like, but I want to wear my pearls.
It's like the china. Why save the china for like the fancy days?
I want to wear my pearls like the day to day. And I feel like even downtown when we had what was the downtown mall that we had that was fancy smelly?
The St. Louis Center.
The St. Louis Center. Mm-hmm. There was a lady like who was making pearls with like little hearts, and you could customize your name and all that stuff on them. I need to find her. I want her to find me in this life. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so
if you're listening.
But my point is that for all of their work that they invest in, for the 8 months that we are in session, in school sessions, out of school time, or even working with our mentors, then they've identified their strengths and their weaknesses, and they're trying to work in them. Like, I don't think the girls see it as an investment of their time to come on Friday nights and learn something new or work on something that is a weakness of theirs, or even to give up their summer to be at Urban Girl Institute. But it is an investment of their time. And I like it when they call me and say, Ms. Dawn, I have a conflict today. I can't make it to Friday Night Kiss, because I'm like, we're teaching them something. Commitment and responsibility looks really good on you, boo. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy it. But for that investment, we do a big ceremony at the end of every academic year. So if you're in my program for 5 years, you get 5 black dresses, 5 strands of pearls. I call a lady who owns a boutique every year, and she searches for the special black dress that they all will wear. And then, we order it as a group. We wear it as a group. And then they also get a customized strand of pearls each year for being part of the... Wow. In my imagination, every year, I'm like, what am I going to do this year to wow them? Like, I'm trying to teach them how to be celebrated, teach them how to prepare themselves. Like, get your hair done, pull yourself together. This is your time. This is your moment. So all those little pieces don't make sense isolated. I tell them all the time, they don't know why we're practicing our entrance and why do we have to write speeches. But then when it all comes together, I've never had anybody not feel wonderful after the 13 pearling ceremonies we put on. They always feel so wonderful, even when it was just in the basement of my church.
That's amazing. Okay, and then what's this Eat, Drink? What is this coming up?
Eat, Drink, Make a Difference is a fundraiser that we're going to do in August.
Okay.
We're going to do it around my birthday this time.
Good for you.
I know.
Is it a big birthday, or you just
not?
Want to? Okay.
It's
well,
not.
Hey, whatever.
Hey, we made it birthday, but we're going to do it in August. And I really normally pull together people who may not be able to do any of the physical work or be present. Yep. And I ask them to give a donation to our organization. Yes. So they'll get to see the work that we're doing and then have something fabulous to eat and have a cocktail with us and offer us a donation to continue our work.
So if people want to find out more about becoming a mentor, how to enroll their daughter maybe or their grandkid.
So we have a fabulous website is thesophiaproject.org.
With a PH.
Yes, with a PH.
Sophiaproject.org.
And under what we do, you can find our in-school session, you can find KISS, and you can find UGI. All those enrollment forms are open and available and waiting on them to join us. And even an events page with all the fabulous things that we do in the city too.
And this is no cost for the girls to attend.
It is no cost. That may be a registration fee, but that really is for just people to commit. Okay. I'm just looking for a commitment.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all, Dawn?
Yes.
I have been looking so forward to this conversation. I know that we're the Sophia Project and Prevent+Ed are going to kind of keep thinking about ways to partner and elevate the work because there's so much overlap in the mentorship, the soft skills, the other side of the report card, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, we all sort of have to work together, and heavens knows there's more work than
to be done.
Exactly. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
If you like what you heard, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing. We love subscribing to The Preventable. Thank you. Till next time.
Thanks for joining us at The Preventable, brought to you ad-free by Prevent+Ed. Prevent+Ed works to reduce or prevent the harms of alcohol and other drug use through education, intervention, and advocacy. Please visit their website at prevented.org. Like what you heard? Rate, review, and subscribe to stay up to date with what we are serving on The Preventable.